Morning, guys. Today, Conor McGregor reminds us to create our own path. And this one is very challenging for us, especially with all the cultural pressures, our current physical environment, things that we've been conditioned with, or things that we're used to. But Conor McGregor reminds us what has worked for him and has made him so successful. He gives us the example of him not wanting to settle for being a plumber. And there's nothing wrong with being a plumber. But for him, that wasn't his own path. He knew he had to create his own. He knew he had to pursue his dream of fighting. And for us, how can we apply this to our lives today? We may be doing something right now that could be a stepping stone towards our real path. We got to remember that we are so unique and therefore have our own path, and we have to be okay with that. So let's remember that today. Have a great morning, everyone.
Nobody's journey is seamless or smooth. We all stumble, we all have setbacks. If things go wrong, you hit a dead end, as you will. It's just life's way of saying, time to change course. So ask every failure. This is what I do. Every failure, every crisis, every difficult time, I say, what is this here to teach me? And as soon as you get the lesson, you get to move on. If you really get the lesson, you pass and you don't have to repeat the class. If you don't get the lesson, it shows up wearing another pair of pants or skirt to give you some remedial work. And what I found is that difficulties come when you don't pay attention to life's whisper, because life always whispers to you first. And if you ignore the whisper, sooner or later, you'll get a scream. Whatever you resist persists, but if you ask the right question, not why is this happening, but what is this here to teach me? What is this here to teach me? It puts you in the place and space to get the lesson you need. My friend Eckhart Tolle, who's written this wonderful book called A New Earth, it's all about letting the awareness of who you are stimulate everything that you do. He puts it like this. He says, don't react against a bad situation, merge with that situation instead, and the solution will arise from the challenge. Because surrendering yourself doesn't mean giving up, it means acting with responsibility. Okay, many of you know that, as President Hennessy said, I started this school in Africa. And I founded the school where I'm trying to give South African girls a shot at a future like yours, Stanford. And I spent 5 years making sure that school would be as beautiful as the students. I wanted every girl to feel her worth reflected in her surroundings. So I checked every blueprint, I picked every pillow, I was looking at the grout in between the bricks, I knew every thread count of the sheets, I chose every girl from the villages, from 9 provinces, and yet last fall I was faced with a crisis I'd never anticipated. I was told that one of the dorm matrons was suspected of sexual abuse. Well, that was, as you can imagine, devastating news. First I cried, actually I sobbed for about a half an hour, and then I said, let's get to it. That's all you get, is a half an hour. You need to focus on the now, what you need to do now. So I contacted a child trauma specialist. I put together a team of investigators. I made sure the girls had counseling and support. And Gail and I got on a plane and flew to South Africa. And the whole time I kept asking that question, what is this here to teach me? And as difficult as that experience has been, I got a lot of lessons. I understand now the mistakes I made because I had been paying attention to all of the wrong things. I built that school from the outside in, when what really mattered was the inside out. So it's a lesson that applies to all of our lives as a whole. What matters most is what's inside. What matters most is the sense of integrity, of quality, and beauty. I got that lesson. And what I know is that the girls came away with something too. They've emerged from this more resilient and knowing that their voices have power.
Your challenges don't only make you stronger, they allow you to serve better. I think the default answer for a lot of people is that your challenges make you stronger. Your challenges will, you know, to grow muscle, you have to break your muscle first. And all of these obstacles that they put in your way allow you to have a better life. They're making you stronger. They're making you more powerful. And that's all true, yes. And the thing that helps me the most is just tying it back to service, because I think, you know, humans are built to serve. You are built to serve. When you can connect the challenge that you're going through as something that's then going to inspire and help other people, at least for me, it always gives me a lot more strength and a lot more courage to do the thing that I need to do, as opposed to it just being about me getting stronger. I find a lot of times me getting stronger is not enough. It's not enough of a reason compared to it's going to help somebody else as well. So, you know, if that's you, hope this video helps you as well. So I think about when I was doing my tour 2019 and I broke my neck. It was one of the most challenging times in my life, and that it's already hard enough. I'm already, you know, on the road. We're quarter of the year on the road, 90 straight days, me, Nina, my cameraman Danny, and there were a lot of challenges in making that whole tour happen, and new city every 4 days, and all of the stuff that goes into, you know, it was my first ever tour. And then I broke my neck 2/3 of the way through. So as if things weren't hard enough, now I break my neck. I can't drive anymore. I'm in insane amounts of pain. I have a concussion, and I'm still making videos. I struggled with the decision. This is a real decision. Do I quit the tour or not? Do I quit the tour? Do I go home? There's still another month on the road. It's not just me, it's also Nina, who has to do a lot more work now. She's got to drive this giant Suburban across the country. Danny, the camera guy, has to do a lot more work. You know, it's a lot of stress. I'm basically out of commission, and all I could do was talk, which is great for speaking, but sucks for everything else. So what do? The thing that made me want to at least try to keep going, I didn't know that I would go for another month, but I thought, let's just do the next city. Let's just do the next city. Let's go to Kansas City. Kansas City was the next stop. Let's go to Kansas City and see what happens. What got me through it was thinking about somebody in the audience, thinking about one of you guys who was struggling with something physically. Up until that point, I dealt with a lot of mental issues, mindset issues, things like believing you're not good enough, lack of self-worth, you don't have a message to share, imposter syndrome, all of those things, right? Even here, we're filming, and we're about to go through a car wash. We're next, so we're probably gonna get some crazy noise. I have to talk loud. I used to be so worried about that stuff that I wouldn't film. Like, oh, I can't film going to a car wash, you know, the noise, whatever. Now I look at it as opportunities. Like, let's go. Like, that's not a good enough reason. Maybe the video quality sucks. I hope not. Maybe you can't hear me loud enough. I hope not. But not letting those things get in your way, because that stuff happens all the time. You know, like that stuff happens all the time. And look, we're next. You guys can see it says car wash. We're next, depending on how long that guy ahead of us takes. You might see it in this video. I dealt with a lot of those mindset issues, those lack of belief issues, those worthiness issues, and I battled them, and I've been through them, and you know, have a few lessons to share. And over the years of me trialing and failing, and 20 plus years of doing this, my hope is to make the path a little bit easier for you, so that you don't have to struggle as much as I did. The path can be a little bit sooner, a little bit faster, a little bit less painful, right? But I've never been through anything really physical.
Thank you.
You know, I've broken my toe. I remember breaking my toe and then going for a run, and I was doing an Instagram live at the time. It was like a light run, fast jog, and my toe was hurting so much, and I just kept powering through it. Then later realized I broke my toe. But that's not really anything major, right? You know, if somebody's going through something physical and major, it's like, you broke your toe, come on, it's not a big deal. And so I never felt like I could serve or push people who had a physical limitation, had a physical kind of injury, because I've never gone through it, and I don't feel right pushing people on things that I haven't experienced in some form myself, right? So here I am, 2019. Now I break my neck. Now I have a concussion. I'm in more pain than I've ever been in my life. Concussion, if you haven't been through it, is just devastating because it's not just a physical pain of not being able to move your body and neck and potential having spinal surgery, which is crazy scary, but also not being able to think clearly. For me, I value that a lot. Like I love thinking. I love problem solving, and not being able to think clearly and just be a vegetable on the couch all day was devastating. So getting through that and then deciding I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna at least try for the next stop in Kansas City. Why? Because if I can get through this, yes, it's a challenge that will teach me and make me stronger, and I have a lesson that I can learn from it. But if I can get through this, then hopefully it can serve as an inspiration for other people who are going through something physical as well. That it's not just a mindset issue, but they have physical limitations. The first night in the hospital, I was a train wreck. Then I came home and to our Airbnb, they let me out of the hospital. And I remember two specific moments. One, trying to get into the car. So we're at the hospital, I get discharged, I'm excited, go home, fresh air, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And I have this neck brace on, I can't move, I have very low flexibility, and I'm now the passenger. I'm not allowed to drive because I can't turn my head. So Nina has to drive. And I'm in the parking lot of the hospital, and I'm trying to get into the passenger side. I'm in the passenger seat right now in my car. I'm trying to get into the passenger side of the car, and I can't. And it hurts too much. And I get to the point where I have one foot in the car and one foot out of the car. And it's a Suburban, so it's this giant step up to get in. And I remember I was in so much pain that I couldn't go forward into the car. I didn't have the strength. And every time I lifted off, it killed everything in my body. The whole, all my back up into my neck, everything was in massive pain. But I also couldn't get back down, because that was hurting too much too. So I was stuck in this limbo of I can't go forward, I can't go back. Nina's trying to, push me up to get me in. And then I remember just crying. I'm in the parking lot of we're going to the car wash. I'm in the parking lot. I'm gonna have to talk louder. I'm in the parking lot of the hospital and I'm crying out of frustration. And I can't remember the last time I was that frustrated that I just broke down and cried. And I didn't know what to do next. Everything hurt. I can't move forward. I can't move backwards. I'm just overwhelmed by pain and frustration. And I'm crying in the parking lot of the hospital. Eventually, Nina just pushes me in. One hand on each butt cheek and in you go. And I got in and it hurt, but then I was in. And that was just an overwhelming moment. And then I remember that night, here we go, car wash. That night, I can't sleep, it's terrible. I've got, neck brace on, I'm not used to sleeping with it. I'm in massive pain, and it's 3 a.m, and I have to go to the bathroom. And so I'm sitting, I can get myself to sit up. They taught me in the hospital how to push yourself from lying down to sitting up. Ooh, look at the foam. Look at that, guys. How to go from lying down to sitting up without hurting yourself too much, minimizing the pain as much as possible. So they taught me how to do that. So 3 a.m, I have to go to the bathroom. I get up, I push myself into the seating position. I'm starting to feel dizzy. I have a concussion, right? I'm starting to feel dizzy. I can't see anything because it's really dark. And I'm worried that if I stand up, I might fall over. How I got the concussion was I fainted. I fainted, my head on the wall, and then cracked the back of my neck open. I'm worried that if I stand up, I might faint and I might fall over again. And Nina's asleep next to me. Look at this. Were you sleeping on the floor? Nina's joining in. Nina,
Yeah.
you were on the bed.
I was sleeping on the floor.
Were you on the floor?
That will wake you up.
She was afraid she was gonna wake me up. Bless Nina's heart. She had no sleep during this whole time too, right? So she's asleep. It's 3 a.m, and I don't want to wake her up. One, because I feel bad for her because she hasn't slept at all, but also I feel helpless. I feel so helpless that I'm in all this pain and I can't even go to the bathroom by myself. Like I need help to go to the bathroom. I felt so helpless. And I said, it's not worth it for me to get up and potentially, like if I fall, that's no bueno, right? I'm back to the hospital probably if I fall. So I wake up Nina, and I mean, it may not seem like a big deal, but it felt like a big deal. Like I felt just helpless. And so I woke her up. She helped me go to the bathroom, and I did my business and went back to sleep. But those two moments in particular were the most painful moments of that whole experience. It's the best. And the thing that got me through it, the thing that gave me the motivation, was that hopefully somebody else who's going through some kind of painful moment right now will be able to resonate with this and be inspired by this. Whether it's actually true or not, it was a story that I was telling myself. I told myself somebody's going to be inspired by this. And I still made videos, and my next round of videos, I couldn't do the whole thing. So Nina did some of it, I did some of it. And I'm sitting there, I'm now overweight because I haven't been able to work out. Haven't been eating as clean as I was normally. I got a giant scab. If you look at some of those old videos, I had this huge scab on my forehead. Again, normally like, oh my gosh, I got this giant scab on you might be worried about a little pimple. I got this giant scab coming down my forehead. I look like Harry Potter. The thing that gets me through it is other people who have some kind of issue, like they're having a bad hair day or a pimple on their face, might be inspired by this to go and take action. What? Nina has a pimple on her. You want to show everybody your pimple on your forehead? Again, whether it's true or not, it was a story that I was telling myself that somebody else is going to be inspired by this, and it's going to allow them to go and do their thing. Now, fast forward, we make the videos, we release the videos. A lot of people were inspired by it. A lot of people did message me, DM me, email me, tell me in future interviews, I was telling myself I couldn't do this because of X, because I had a headache. And here you are doing your videos with a concussion, giant scab on your face, neck brace, in massive pain, breaking your neck. And I told myself, what? I have no excuse. I'm going to go do my thing because Evan did his thing. But again, whether it was true or not, the thing that got me to get through the challenge in a way that I'm proud of myself for was the connection to service. That it's not just here to make me stronger, which it did. It made me incredibly, like, I can't believe I did that. That guy is still in me, that I could go and do that again. Hopefully don't break my neck again, but I could do that. It made me stronger, but even more valuable is me feeling like this is gonna mean something to somebody else. So whatever challenge you're going through, understand that yes, your purpose comes from your pain. This will make you a better person. But the thing that will help you get through it, at least from my experience, is connecting to somebody else. That there are tons of people out there who are also struggling with the same thing that you are struggling with right now. And when you get through it, your story will be an inspiration for them. Your journey through it will motivate them to have the courage to show up for their lives as well. And when you can actually connect it to service, I think everything is better. You are built to serve. We made it through the car wash. Good job, Nina. Hopefully that you heard all that stuff and it was valuable and life-changing. And if not, I love you anyway. Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Good afternoon, guys. How are you doing today? How is your path going? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, are you thinking about creating your own unique path? If you're not, get back at it again. This is one of the most difficult things for us to remember because our tendency as human beings is to want to feel loved, to want to feel accepted, to want to fit in, to want to just go with the flow. And that's okay to a certain extent, but deep down inside, we're meant to be unique. We're meant to find our own path. So get back at it again today, at least in your mind. Start thinking, start believing, start showing that determination in your mind to continue to create your own path. It could be in your current job or in your current relationship, whatever you're doing. Think about how you can be your true, unique self in every decision, choice, and thought you have. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
So many people think that money is the most important thing in the world, and if they don't have money, they would just die. But that's not true. There's a substance that is far more precious and far more important to us that we literally can't live without. What is that? Love. No, plenty of people are miserable and lonely most of their life and live.
Air.
Air. Your air, your breath. Your breath is the most important thing that you have, the most precious thing. If you didn't take another breath, you wouldn't last 3 minutes and you'd never get out of this room. And yet we absolutely take for granted that our next breath is there. Look at us, we're all in this room breathing, and I'm not saying don't breathe, there's not enough for me. We assume that it's there. And when we exhale, we don't think about where's my next breath coming from. Now, if the power that created us has given us enough breath to last for as long as we shall live, can we not begin to trust that the other things will take care of themselves? See, life is here for us. Life is here to support us, to take care of us, to be here for us. The entire planet has been put here for us to play with. We have everything that we shall ever need. It's already here. Only we have to know it, and we have to trust it, and we have to acknowledge it. Do you realize that there is more food on this planet than people could possibly eat? There's an incredible amount of food. Yes, it is true that there are people starving, but the food is here. There is more money on this planet than we know how to count. The money is here. Now, there are lots of people who are very broke, but the money is here. There are billions of people on this planet, and yet you will have people tell you that they're lonely. It has nothing to do with not being people. It's what we're doing with our heads. Everything is here for us. For every dis-ease on this planet, there is a plant that'll cure it. Everything is here for us. And the more we begin to trust life and acknowledge the beauty and magnificence of our own being, the more we find everything we need. It just pops up.
Need motivation?
What a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Louise Hay, and my take on her top 10 rules to success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, do positive affirmations.
To begin with, you start by doing what we call doing affirmations. And that is making positive statements about your life that are positive. And you do them deliberately. You might do them in the morning, you might do them at noon, you might do them at night, you might do them, twice a day or whatever. But you do this and you let this become a habit. And as you start to do them, things will begin to change, maybe on a very small level. I call it getting the green lights in the parking places. I mean, they're not huge things in your life, but it can be very nice when you get 3 green lights in a row and you're in a hurry. Doing an affirmation is either writing it down, writing it on the wall or the mirror, or using just saying it. What I like people to do is to stand in front of a mirror and do their affirmations. Because there's something very powerful about looking in your own eyes and accepting yourself, or noticing that you reject yourself when you're saying something positive about yourself. So that would be a very beginning way to start. Say in the morning, you get up in the morning, you go to the mirror, and this is a big one, and it's hard for lots of people. But you look in the mirror and say, I love you. I really, really love you. And to begin with, that can be so hard for people because they think of all the things that they think are wrong with them. But if you can start your day saying that, it's very powerful. Remember, I'd like to think the universe is listening to everything you say and everything you think and saying, okay, you can get that. So then it starts to bring you in and bring things into you. And I know this sounds far-fetched, but it's amazing how it works. If you do a good general positive statement for yourself, the universe will figure out how to manifest that, how to bring that about in your life. So things could happen that you wouldn't expect at all, but they will happen. If you think of doing your positive affirmations is like planting a seed in the ground. It's not necessarily true at the moment, but it is something you want to have be true. So you put the seed in, and you plant a seed and you expect it to grow. Or you maybe plant 3 seeds just in case. You expect them to grow. And you don't wait 2 days and then dig in the earth and say, what's happening, what's happening? You expect that thing to grow because you know there's a law and a process. And the seed will grow if it is in the right soil and it has the right amount of moisture. Making it really a habit and doing it every day, doing something every morning when you wake up, that's a really good time. And another good time is when you go to sleep at night.
Rule number 3, watch your thoughts.
The thoughts we think and the words we speak are constantly shaping our world and our experiences. Many of us are in an old habit of negative thinking and do not realize the damage we have inflicted upon ourselves. However, we are never stuck because we can always change our thinking. As we learn to consistently choose positive thoughts, the old negative ones dissolve away. So, as you listen to the following power thoughts, let the affirmations and ideas wash over your consciousness. Your subconscious mind will pick up the ones that are important to you at the moment. These concepts are like fertilizing the soil of your mind. As you absorb them by repetition, you are slowly enriching the very basis of your garden of life. Anything you plant will grow abundantly. I see you vibrant and healthy, surrounded by exquisite beauty, living a life of love and prosperity, filled with joy and laughter. You are on a wonderful pathway of change and growth. Enjoy your trip. My healing is already in process. Your body knows how to heal itself. Get the negative garbage out of the way, then love your body. Feed it nourishing foods and beverages. Pamper it, respect it. Create an atmosphere of wellness. Allow yourself to heal.
Rule number 4, take in all of life.
Lungs have to do with taking in life. This is the breath of life. This is where we take in life. And we have the ability to take in just enough to get us by, or we can fill our lungs and really have all the cells in the body work well and our brain cells work well. Traditionally, for generations and generations, women have been very shallow breathers because we bought this story that said we're not good enough, that we're second-class citizens, and we began to believe that we didn't have the right to take up very much space, and we barely had the right to exist, and so we take in just enough air to keep us going. That's changing now, and it's wonderful. And one of the things that really excites me today is what's happening with women in the gyms. You know, we have worked in the fields for a very long time, but I think this is the first time that I'm aware of where women have really gone out for sports. And you see some of the female bodies in the gyms these days that go out and exercise. They are incredibly magnificent. Just wonderful. And they are taking in life and taking up space and taking air. And I think it's beautiful. So people who have lung problems, people who smoke too much, people who have emphysema and things like that, they're cutting life off. They're saying on some level, I don't deserve to exist. Or I only deserve to exist a little bit.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, create better health.
If you want to create better health in your body, there are definitely some things you must not do. You must not get angry at your body for any reason. Anger is another affirmation, and it is telling your body that you hate it or hate parts of it. Your cells are very aware of every thought you have. Think of your body as a servant that is working as hard as it can to keep you in perfect health, no matter how you treat it. Your body knows how to heal itself. If you feed it healthy foods and beverages, and give it exercise and sufficient sleep, and think happy thoughts, then its work is easy. The cells are working in a happy, healthy atmosphere. However, if you feed it junk foods and drink lots of diet soda, be a couch potato and skimp on sleep, and are grouchy and complaining all the time, then the cells in your body are working at a disadvantage and in a disagreeable atmosphere. Then it's no wonder that your body is not as healthy as you would like it to be. You will never create good health by talking or thinking about your illness. Good health comes from love and appreciation. You want to put as much love into your body as you possibly can. Talk to it in loving ways. Touch and stroke it in loving ways. If there is a part of your body that is ailing or diseased, then you want to treat it as you would a sick little child. Tell it how much you love it, and that you are doing everything you can to help it get well quickly. If you are sick, then you want to do more than just go to the doctor and have him give you a chemical to take care of the symptom. Your body is telling you that something you are doing is not good for your body. You need to learn more about health. The more you learn, the easier it is to take care of your body. You do not want to choose to feel like a victim. That just gives your power away. You could go to a health food store and pick up one of the many good books that teach you how to keep yourself healthy. You could see a nutritionist and have a healthy diet created just for you, or you could see a holistic health practitioner. Do create a healthy, happy mental atmosphere. Be a willing participant in your own health plan. I believe we create every so-called illness in our body. The body, like everything else in life, is a mirror of our inner thoughts and beliefs. The body is always talking to us if we will only take the time to listen.
Rule number 6, be grateful.
Gratitude works a lot. Just being grateful for everything. The more, I always say the universe loves gratitude. The more you're grateful for what the good is in your life, the more good you get to be grateful about. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, if somebody gives you a present or gives me a present and I say, oh my God, I hate that color and it doesn't fit, and you know, that person will never give me another present. Mm-hmm. But if you say, oh, it's wonderful and thank you, I really adore it, it's great, that person is probably going to want to buy you a present every time they see something they think you would like. And it's like that with the universe. The universe loves gratitude.
Rule number 7, trust your inner wisdom.
I trust my inner wisdom. There is a place within each of us that is totally connected with the infinite wisdom of the universe. In this place lie all the answers to all the questions you will ever ask. Learn to trust your inner self. As I go about my daily affairs, I listen to my own guidance. My intuition is always on my side. I trust it to be there at all times. I am safe.
Rule number 8, customize your future.
Continuous modes of thinking and speaking produce body behaviors and postures and eases or diseases. The person who has a permanently scowling face did not produce that by having joyous, loving thoughts. Older people's faces and bodies show so clearly a lifetime of thinking patterns. How will you look when you are elderly? Learn to accept that your life is not a series of random events, but a pathway of awakening. If every day is an awakening, you will never grow old. You will just keep growing. Imagine the day you turn 49 as the infancy of another life. A woman today who reaches the age 50 and remains free of cancer and heart disease can expect to see her 92nd birthday. You and only you have the ability to customize your own life cycle. So change your thinking now and get going. You are here for a very important reason, and all you need is available to you. You can create thoughts that create a mental atmosphere that contributes to illness, or you can choose to think thoughts that create a healthy atmosphere both within you and around you.
Rule number 9, believe in the good.
If you have very strong beliefs within you that you don't deserve good things in your life, and a lot of people have that, then there can be delays. And sometimes people say, well, affirmations don't work. I've done them. But when they're doing, for instance, prosperity affirmations, and they've done some prosperity affirmations, and they say it doesn't work, nothing's happening. And I say, well, all right, how many prosperity affirmations did you do in a day? And they'll say 3, probably. And they say, all right, how many poverty affirmations did you do this day? And that could be 300, depending on where you're coming from and what is running through your mind. See, I have this, one of my thoughts about life is that only good lies before me. And I have been saying this for many years. So it doesn't really matter to me what happens in life, because I know it's going to be good.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is trust the process of life.
I am deeply fulfilled by all that I do. We will never have the opportunity to live this day again. So we want to savor every moment. There is richness and fullness in everything we do. Each moment of the day is special to me as I follow my higher instincts and listen to my heart. I am at peace in my world and affairs. I trust the process of life. We are learning how life works. It's like learning your computer. When you first get a computer, you learn the simple, basic processes, how to turn it on and off, and how to open and save a document, how to print. And on that level, your computer works wonders for you. And yet, there is so much more that it can do for you when you learn more of its ways. It's the same thing with life. The more we learn how it works, the more wonders it performs for us. There is a rhythm and flow to life, and I am part of it. Life supports me and brings me only good and positive experiences. I trust the process of life to bring me my highest good.
Good evening, guys. Creating our own unique path is a very challenging thing, but it comes from understanding that we are each unique in every thought, experience, choice we've made in our life. And that's where we have to embrace and accept that. And in terms of my personal life story, the reason why I'm so passionate about filling our minds with positive thought energy is because I've seen the power of our thoughts. I've experienced the benefits and the drawbacks of not having or having the correct and accurate way of thinking. So I want to help you with this, and I hope that you are inspired to be your true great self through your own unique path. So hopefully today you had that chance to apply it, but if not today, tomorrow's another day. Get back at it again. Never give up on finding your own unique path. Have a good evening, everyone.
I get asked very often, what are the most important characteristics of leadership? Vision, charisma, I know plenty of incredible leaders that aren't big Steve Jobs visionaries, they're just not. And I know some fantastic leaders who do not have charisma. They're quiet and super introverted, and they're just not that exciting to talk to, spend time with. When I say charisma, I mean the traditional definition of it, which is more about energy. I believe charisma is undying belief in something, and that they have in spades. But I think courage is the one thing that all great leaders have to have, because we are surrounded by overwhelming forces every day of our lives pushing us to play the finite game. If you're a public company, the markets, all they want for their own selfish gain is for you to make short-term decisions. The pressures are overwhelming. If you're a numbers-driven person, the pressures are overwhelming. If you're in survival mode, the pressures are overwhelming. If you have a spouse who spends more money than you can make, the pressures are overwhelming. All the pressures around us, even the way we treat competition versus rivalry, like we feel like we have to win all the time. The pressures every day on us are absolutely overwhelming for us to be finite and to prioritize the short term over the long term, to prioritize the urgent over the important. And it takes unbelievable courage to put the important before the urgent. It takes unbelievable courage to resist all the pressures coming from selfish outside parties. It takes unbelievable pressure to do the right thing.
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Simon Sinek, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, keep your vision big.
How can we ensure that we're changing with times, technology, culture, politics, and tastes, rather than just trying to beat our competitor? And you see it across industries. Publishing, for example. The internet showed up and they saw it and they thought it was nice. And they, as it took on, they sort of, I guess they were interested in it. They sort of played defense. And then Amazon showed up and Amazon went to all of them and said, hey, you want to invest in us? And they all said no. Well, now they're all playing catch up. They're all playing defense. Netflix went to Blockbuster and said, want to buy us? And Blockbuster said no. The rest of the TV and movie industry were too busy comparing who had higher ratings, and they completely missed the fact that Netflix has now completely reinvented television. I find that fascinating. General Motors was destroying its own electric vehicles to protect its old business, and now they're all rushing to catch up with Tesla. I think this is hilarious. And it's the little companies, the Netflixes, the Amazons, the Teslas, that get ignored, that aren't seen as a threat, that end up defining and redefining entire marketplaces. Now, this is not unique to small companies. Big companies can absolutely redefine. The problem is big companies are more obsessed with their finite goals. Big companies are more obsessed with beating their competitors. And little companies are obsessed with their vision. Little companies are obsessed with this outsized vision that outstrips the resources they have, right? Somebody says, we're going to do this, and everybody looks around and goes, well, we don't have the money for that. We don't have the talent for that. I guess we'll have to be creative. And I think this is one of the opportunities for big companies. As they get big, their visions get smaller. They become goals that they can just do a back plan for. There's nothing inherent that a big company shouldn't be innovative. But to your point before, they become risk averse. They become stable. And at the end of the day, it takes huge vision. What I imagine is a huge corporation, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, that someone will say, we imagine a world that's so crazy and so idealistic that in this large corporation, they all look around and go, we don't have the money for that. We don't have the talent for that. I guess we'll have to be creative, which scares the heck out of the investor community. But remember, all of those companies were founded by, whether it's your Steve Jobs or all of these companies, Salesforce, they all started by young people who had no experience and only had vision. And I think there's no reason why big companies cannot be innovative. But I think it's about pushing their own boundaries and allowing for entrepreneurship. And inherent in entrepreneurship is failure. You can't experiment without failing. I remember talking to a CFO of a big company once, and he told me that he has two priorities for the company, innovation and efficiency. I said, good luck with that. There's nothing efficient about innovation because you have to keep trying something over and over again. There's nothing efficient about that. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, companies are obsessed with growth. And everybody, they brag, we're a hyper growth company. Show me one article, not 10, not 15, show me one article that shows any data that hyper growth is good for business and good for the company. There is no data to show that companies who are obsessed with growth actually build stronger companies, because they don't. And so it is a fool's errand that is promoted usually by an incentive structure that rewards short-term benefits. I think what companies can do is start to look at their incentive structures and start rewarding things like teamwork, ethics, and long-term gain. And guess what? You'll get the behavior you reward.
Rule number 3, find your why.
Find a friend you love, and one of those people who, if you called them at 3 o'clock in the morning, they'd take your call and you would take theirs. Don't do this with a spouse. Don't do this with a sibling. Don't do this with a boyfriend or girlfriend. Those relationships are too close. But find a best friend and ask them this simple question: why are we friends? And they're going to look at you like you're crazy, because it's very hard for the human brain to put our feelings into words, because the part of the brain that controls our feelings doesn't control language. This is why we use metaphors and analogies, and why we struggle to tell people how we actually feel. It's because it's a different part of the brain. And so they're going to look at you and be like, I don't know. Why are you asking me this? And you say, come on, I know you've been there for me my whole life. And then you actually stop asking the question why, ironically. You actually ask the question what. You say, come on, what specifically is it about me that I know you'd be there for me no matter what? And they're going to hem and haw because it's hard to put into words. Don't help them. Don't let anybody else help them. And they're going to start describing you. I don't know. You're funny. You're smart. You're honest. You've always been there for me. You go, good. You play devil's advocate. Good. That's the definition of a friend. What specifically is it about me that I'd know you'd be there for me no matter what? And again, they'll hem and haw, and some will get through this quickly, and some will get through it slowly, and it'll be a struggle, and you have to continue to play devil's advocate. Good, that's the definition of a close friend. What specifically is it about me? And eventually, they'll give up. Eventually, they'll stop describing you, and they'll start describing themselves. Like my friend said to me, Simon, I don't know. All I know is that I can sit in a room with you. I don't even have to talk to you, and I feel inspired, and I got goosebumps. In fact, I'm getting them right now. They will put into words the value you have in their life, and you will have the emotional reaction. You'll either well up with tears or you will get goosebumps. This puts you in the ballpark. This is where your why lives. And if you do this with multiple friends, they will say the same kind of thing. In fact, sometimes they'll say the same exact thing, because your why is the thing you give to the world, and amongst your closest and best friends, it is the space you fill in their lives. So that's a fun little way you can find your why.
Rule number 4, ask for help.
By ourselves as individuals, we are not very good. We cannot lift heavy weights by ourselves, and we cannot solve complex problems by ourselves. But in groups, we are remarkable. And so all of this stuff, whether it's life, whether it's whatever your job was in the service, whatever your job is out of the service, whether it's finding a new job, whether it's making your way, finding out sort of what your passion is, all of these things are incredibly difficult. They're all incredibly complicated. And the person who thinks that they can tackle any of these problems by themselves is a fool. Plain old, you're a fool. You cannot. I'm going to tell you, you cannot do it alone. And so asking for help is perhaps the greatest single thing anyone can ever learn, especially where everything is new and the stresses are different and often feel overwhelming and scary, totally unfamiliar. And the longer you are in the service, the scarier it is. Because you had 15 years doing one thing, knowing one thing, learning a culture, and now not only is it new, people don't even understand what you did and what you know. The military is one of the most misunderstood cultures in the world. It's so closed and insular that people just don't know it. So you're dealing with that as well. And so to ask for help in any form is brilliant. This is the single thing that completely transformed my own culture. I had a small business. I quit my job and started my own marketing consultancy a bunch of years ago. And for a few years, I ran on force of personality, and it was great. But then if you have a little bit of success, force of personality doesn't work anymore. And all of a sudden, things started crashing in around me because I couldn't do it all. And I thought I had to know all the answers. And if I didn't, I pretended that I did, because I thought that's what I had to do. And I learned the very, very hard way, where it was a dark period that I had to learn to ask for help. And it turns out I was surrounded by people who wanted to help me. They just didn't, because they didn't know I wanted it or needed it. And it was the willingness to ask for it or accept it that transformed my life and put me on the path that I'm on now. Now I'm really open about, I can tell you stuff I'm really good at, and I'll tell you I'm good at that. And I'll tell you I am not good at that. I need help with that. If I'm struggling, or if I'm stuck, if I'm confused, I say, can I ask you? I call up friends, I call up people, mentors, and say, I need your help. Can you help me? And here's what I've learned about the building of trust. We don't build trust by offering people our help. We build trust by asking people for help. That's what actually creates trust, because it's an expression of vulnerability, right? It allows people to offer us safety and protection. And that's an act of service for the other person.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5, put people first.
The tension is healthy. The tension is good. If all you have is empathy, then you have a hippie commune, and you're not actually going to cure anything. But if all you're doing is driving the numbers, you're going to have a short lifespan and break the machine also. And you might have a spike, and then you'll disappear. Or all your best people say, I hate it here, and they go work somewhere else and take all of their brilliance somewhere else. So there is a balance, but there's also a hierarchy. It's not 50-50. There's no such thing as 50-50. It doesn't exist. You can't say, well, we're 50% driven by performance and 50% driven by culture, because you will face decisions where one of those things has to will sacrifice the other. The question is, which one are you going to choose? There has to be a bias towards people. There has to be a bias towards the teamwork, the environment. And the will to succeed is driven by the belief in the cause. If the cause is clear and the metrics, and you're letting people see the metrics so they feel like we're making progress. Again, go back to that marathon analogy, right? Which is, you're exhausted, you're tired, but you're getting closer to the finish line. You start running faster, not slower.
That's a
right?
good point.
And so it's keeping people included to know what the metrics mean, and which ones are trending and which ones are absolute. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with the drive to succeed, as long as there's a context within which that drive exists.
Rule number 6, be there for others.
When we are willing to put ourselves at risk to be there for someone, right? Don't worry if this goes south, I will be there for you. Which may mean working late, it may mean working extra hours, it may mean putting our reputations on the line. I mean, there's a lot of things that takes. But when we genuinely promise to be there for someone, and it has to be genuine, because if it gets tested, it's very easy to find out if it was genuine or not. But if it's genuine, then it's repaid remarkably. Let me give you a silly example. Let's say that, so I talk about this sometimes, which is the giving of time and energy is more powerful than the giving of money. You can't build trust with money. So paying somebody bonuses and giving somebody a big salary, though feels nice, is not earning or building any trust whatsoever. You cannot pay for trust. And here's the example. Let's say you're moving house. And one of your friends says, you know what? I want to help you. We've been friends for years. I'm going to pay for the moving van. Here's $5,000 and the moving van. Let me know how it goes. Have a great move. That's really generous, right? Another friend says, you know what? I want to help you move. And they come over the week before and they're sitting in your house, packing boxes. They're sweat dripping down their brow. They're there with you all day. They're there to help load the truck. They're there to help unload the truck. They're there to unwrap everything, right? They paid zero money. They give you time and energy, which are non-redeemable commodities. Money, we make money, we spend money, we make money back. It's a redeemable commodity. Time and energy are non-redeemable commodities. And so when someone gives us something that they cannot get back, it has a much more powerful effect on how we feel. So now both those people call you another time and say, I need your help. Which one are you more apt to help? The one who gave you money or the one who gave you time and energy? And this is a good lesson for leadership as well. Giving our time and energy is often more powerful than simply just throwing money at someone.
Rule number 7, take the risk of honesty.
Let's say there's one person who started their own little business, a little consultancy, right? Got my shingle out. I'm a consultant, right? And everywhere they go, they keep telling you that they're better than everyone else. They keep telling you they're smarter than everyone else. They keep telling you that, you know, the problem with the big companies is they don't have the flexibility. It actually gets to the point of being annoying, to the point that we don't want to actually work with them because we don't believe them, right? Now let's change the scenario. You meet that same person, and they introduce themselves. Look, there's a lot of good consultants out there. Some of them are a lot better than me. But I wake up every single day to be a better version of what I do today than I did yesterday. And I can tell you that the advice I give today is even better than it was yesterday, and the advice I'm going to give tomorrow is even better. Because for me, it's an education. And that's why I love working with open-minded, wonderful clients who are partners, because what we end up doing is growing together. Right? Now, that's one person. Think about how appealing that person is. They've actually told you that you may actually get as good or better advice somewhere else, but it's who they are and who they're being and the disposition that they bring that makes them way more trustworthy and us wanting to work with them. And it's the same for big companies. It's got nothing to do with the size of the company, which is it's called humility and honesty. I remember young in my career, I experienced this myself when I went off and hung my shingle out, and I was I had a little marketing company, a little marketing consultancy. I remember going into meetings, and the client would say, "We want you to do all of this for us," and I'd say, "I'm really good at that, pretty good at that, okay at that, really bad at that. I highly recommend you hire somebody else to do that, and I'm happily partner with them for them to do that." And the clients wanted to work with me more, not even though I just told them I can't do that. Only because I was the only one who was honest. Everybody else they talked to, big or small, told them that they were great at everything, which is just not true. Nobody's great at everything. And so it's amazing. When you take the risk to be honest, it pays dividends in the trust that you build.
Rule number 8, lead with your values.
You have to be clear and open about what you stand for. And just like when you hire somebody, you want to make sure that when you hire them, that they share your values, that they believe in your vision. You know, they don't just think it's corny, you know, or marketing, but rather that they buy into it. And sometimes we'll make mistakes, and sometimes people will come and they fall in love with it after the fact. But we try on balance to bring people that we believe will get along with the people who work here because of our values and our cause. And so too is it with suppliers. I think that or clients, it's the same thing, which is we stand for what we stand for, and our goal is to attract people who believe what we believe. The more vocal we are about what we believe, those people literally will come to us, or turn down a competitor who may even be cheaper because they would rather do business with us. And so it's okay to do business with a supplier that doesn't believe what we believe, but we have to go in with eyes open, knowing full well that this is just a transaction. You offer a decent product, you give me a decent price. This is not going to be a lifelong relationship. This is a transactional relationship. And when it's done, I'm just going to hold you to very different standards, right? Because when it's transactional, we're a little less patient when things go wrong. And sometimes we kid ourselves. You just can't do that too often. It's like if you're living a healthy lifestyle, you can have chocolate cake, just not too often. So yeah, I think the more vocal you are, the more you attract. And then you have to make decisions like you're hiring people, because they're going to become a member of your family as well. This is the difference between the short-term finite-minded and the long-term infinite-minded. The finite-minded, is it the cheapest today? Is it the best relationship today? And pay no attention to the secondary or tertiary effects, and definitely pay no attention to what will happen in 5 years. Whereas that long-term minded, infinite-minded player looks at looks at something and looks at someone and says, well, you know, you're not the cheapest, but I think we're going to get along just fine. And over the course of time, the quality of work will far outweigh whatever you paid. A friend of mine who's a consultant loves to joke about her clients that they never have the time or money to do it right the first time, but they always have the time and money to do it again. And I think when you're infinite-minded, you consider those factors from the beginning.
Rule number 9, embrace change.
If I asked you, do you need to change? And you said to me, no, I'd be worried. You know, like, you think you've figured everything out, like emotionally, professionally, all your relationships, everything's golden? Oh, okay, how's that working out for you? You know, I think the answer is always yes, which is to view ourselves or our organizations as works in progress. You know, that is an infinite mindset. Infinite mindset is fundamentally constant improvement. So, you know, there's big change, there's little change, there's tweaks, there's dramatic change. Sometimes it's reacting to changing cultures, changes in culture, politics, technology. You know, sometimes the change is our own, sometimes we have to react to it. But I think the honest answer is yes, we have to change. There's always opportunity to improve something. So there's this notion in businesses that people fear change, which is just fundamentally not true. People fear sudden change, you know? But incremental change is not threatening. People fear change that threatens them, right? And very often the way we change manage is we do lots of PowerPoint presentations about what's coming and don't worry, and we have all these things, and we treat it very rationally, and what we're ignoring is the emotional response. Now, there are some people who love change. It's an infinite-minded thing to embrace uncertainty, to see opportunity in surprise. For some people, especially people who have gotten good at doing something for 10 years, 20 years, that all of a sudden you say you're going to change it, they fear, again, there's that emotional word, they fear that they won't know how to, or it will set them back. And so no number of rational assurances will help them get over that. At some point, we have to just let them go through the process.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is have good intentions.
We bandy these words around a little too quickly these days. They all kind of mean the same thing, you know, authenticity, intention, you know, purpose, flow, all these things, you know. Of course it matters. What is the birth of this motivation? Is it for PR? Is it to hire millennials because that's what they want, so we'll give it to them, you know? Is it because the street demands it, or is it because it's something I fundamentally believe in? I'm very for what the round table announced. The statement's a bit pablum, but you know, it reads like the generic values they put on the wall of a generic company. I would have liked to have seen them, the people who they attribute the work to in the press release, to folks like Kip Tindall from Container Store, or Jim Senegal from Costco, who've been leading this way for decades and have been outspoken about the way business has been done and been criticized for it for decades. Like, they're better messengers for it because they have that deep intention. They fundamentally believe business should be done this way. And the true infinite-minded player wants to build a business, not just to build a better business for themselves. They want to build a business because they want to build business better. So they don't just come up with an idea and then hoard it. They come up with an idea and share it because it's good for the game. It's about perpetuating the game. So if the intention is to see all ships rise, then I'm very open to what these companies are saying. If the intention is to see our ship rise, I become a little cynical.